Uh, okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. I am Dame Doria DC Cordova, and I'm the CEO and owner of Accelerated Business School for Entrepreneurs and the Money and You program. And I want to welcome you to another Fridays with Doria. Thank you so much to all of you coming from around the world, and particularly to my people down under, which is the end of the school holidays, and yet you're still here. And for wherever you're coming from, late from the East Coast of the United States, thank you for being here. Welcome all. And for those of you that are watching the replay, which is many people that watch these, thank you. We missed you, and we hope to see you soon. Okay, so today we have Dr. Jay Pandya. We're so excited to have him. He is not only a business school for entrepreneurs instructor and also attended the program, but as a participant and also a Money and You graduate, and has done quite a few of the accelerated programs events. But he is also someone that is so knowledgeable. And he actually he is a medical doctor, and also something that I was learning about, a homeopathic medicine and surgery doctor. And I was asking what that was, and he'll explain it a little bit later. And his business partner is here, also my business partner, and that is Craig Doyle. So Craig wanted to take a minute and also introduce Dr. Jay Pandya. Craig, take it away.
Thank you, Doria, and again, welcome everybody from Brisbane, well, just the Sunshine Coast here in Australia. So it's an absolute pleasure to be able to introduce this young man. I think when I look at Jay, I always see courage and commitment. And I'll just give you a little 1 minute background on Jay, and I'm sure he can expand on it when he takes over. So Jay, back in India, was trained to be a doctor, a brain surgeon, in fact, so doesn't really get bigger than that, I don't think. However, inside that country, they'd only accept 2 people for that role, or that training role, and sadly Jay got 4th. And so in his eyes, it was sadly because you know, when you're in that profession, you're committed to be the best you can. So Jay went on and became a doctor at a hospital and worked the night shift. And what I love about Jay is that he stopped and just considered what impact he could have on the world as a doctor. And he decided it wasn't going to deliver the impact that he was committed to. And so the hospital just started to introduce technology. So Jay would be a doctor during the night shift, and during the day, he'd be learning technology in the hospital. And that's a real example of commitment. But not only that, then to give up his career in India and pursue a technology education here in Australia. And that wasn't easy. Jay had to fund himself, and I hope he shares the story of his lowest moment. And that's where I say this is what courage looks like. And as an entrepreneur, this is what commitment looks like. And so he moved to Australia to study computing here in Brisbane, and of course excelled in all areas of that, and had some really challenging times where he could have quit, but he didn't. And then he went on to work for one of the largest insurance bank organizations here in Australia, looking after and leading $400 million worth of technical work in that organization. However, yet again, Jay had a bigger view of the world, and really wanted to step into something that he could deliver from his own unique perspective and his drive to bring technology and make that incredible difference in the world. And it was then that my wife Rill met Jay in the Landmark organization, where Rill was leading, my wife was leading seminars, and Jay, under her, I guess, guidance initially, took on the decision to be a leader inside that community. And of course, a lot of us are Landmark graduates here, and he did extraordinarily well in that space. And it was through that trust and love that was created in that environment that we saw a niche in technology for our community, especially the business coaching community. And on that, really from an idea, Jay and Rill went to the business school in Cancun, which Doria led, and launched the company. And it was interesting that at that business school, we picked up our first customer. Again, unexpected, but processionally, when you go towards a goal at some point, great stuff turns up. That's 90 Degrees, which is the name of our company. So it's an absolute privilege to see this young man here today. He's a masterful at what he does. He's committed, he's courageous, and he's here to add value. So please stay focused and enjoy what Jay will be sharing with you today and through his other future work. Thank you, Doria, and welcome, Jay.
Thank you. Thank you. So a little bit more about Dr. Jay Pandya, and then very happy to say that we also have Michelle Patterson, whom I'll introduce a little bit more, but I'm so glad you're here, Michelle, because I know that you are being a bridge between traditional medicine and technology and alternatives. So we won't have you speak right now, Michelle, but we'll have you talk a little bit later. Thank you for being here, though. Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
So,
I'm here for Jay and love him. So thank you, Doria, for introducing me to him.
you're
Phenomenal
welcome.
partner. And that's why I was just like, I'm not missing, this time. And I'm learning so many new things. So thank you, Craig, for that beautiful introduction. He's pretty amazing. I feel very fortunate to have been introduced to him as a business partner. And I'm very picky about who I partner with. And he's amazing. So thank you for that introduction, because there's stuff I didn't even know, Jay.
Thank
There's
you,
more
Michelle.
coming, trust me.
So, so Dr. Pandya is actually a founder and CEO of Master Dojo, which I've asked him to share about a little bit later. He's a thought leader, a powerful coach and strategies. And the gift that we're going to get today is that he blends significant experience with digital transformation, complex program management, lean startups, and agile methodologies, along with a high level of ethical practices. So with that, let's all welcome Jay. Woo! Thank you, Jay. Let's go
Thank you,
ahead and
Doria.
highlight him, Connie. Go ahead. Thank you. Go ahead. And Jay, take it away.
Thank you, Doria. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Michelle. And thanks everyone for being here. It's just such a privilege for, sharing what's possible and how the technology is actually impacting our lives and what there is to, be really mindful of and watch out for, right? So just really so great to be able to share some of those thoughts with you all. Let me bring up, my presentation. I think that would be a good start for all of us. As I'll probably, I'm sure Craig would want me to cover a bit more of my background, but before we jump straight into it. So I was born and raised in India. I became a health professional, and there's a whole lot of background behind in that whole story for some other day. But there was this moment in my early career as a health professional. I think I was 23, 24. And there was a moment of realization of, if I really work whole of my life, 65, 70, whenever I retire, I would have probably, impacted and, touched 180,000 people, between the age of 23, 24 up to when I turned out to be 70, and I did the math, did the calculation of, how many people I'll be able to actually make a difference with as a doctor. And that at that time, I don't know what I was thinking, but at that time it felt like a small game. And, there was much bigger dream, there was much bigger desire. And somehow, I'm talking 1996, 97, there was this dream of, we can do a lot more, and technology is definitely a driver. So I shifted my focus to learning technology and technology's impacts in our lives and our business, developed those skills, came to Australia for formal education, and I've been living here in Australia since 2001. And, and built my career around tech. And really the work that we do is about increasing and expanding the impact via technology. right? So I study tech. I'm a student. I'm a lifelong student of tech and of a life and what's possible. And that's what you're gonna share. That's what you're gonna hear some of that today. Okay. So summary of what we are really focusing on to begin with. We all know how COVID-19 pandemic has been disrupting our lives, and there has been some trends from technology and a social perspective that's been underway. However, over since last 12, 14, 16 months, they've been accelerated. And so some of the things that we are confronting is the best way to describe it is something that we thought we had a gut feel that it's coming, but we didn't realize how quickly it's happening, right? So let's dive into it. Our beloved, Bucky, as we would like to say it, right? He said it, you never change things by fighting the existing reality. You to change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. And it's more relevant than ever before in the current times that we find ourselves in. In fact, what's happening is a creation and a building of a new model, right? I love this quote when I think about what's happening in our lives. If you want peace, prepare for war. Years ago, this Roman, German, in the German army said this in his book. And as I was thinking about what I want to share today, it sounded like much more relevant and a great place to start our thought process from. If you think about the digital technologies led disruption, it is actually a war. It's a war between the old and the new models. The old model of life as we knew it, of governance, of how our society is architected, how our society is structured, the social contract that we have as a fellow citizens with each other, and how the model of business, all of that, there was this life, governance, society, and business before, this decade, and then all of that after this decade. It's like there's a clear-cut line of demarcation, and there's a emergence of a new model, and then there was this model that existed 2,000 years, 5,000 years, from now. So, and then and there's a clear belief we have called, if we really look at the history of humanity, we as a society, as human beings, have relied on religion, on government for answers, for solutions. If you reflect last 200, 500, 2,000 years, people turn to religion or people look at government for solutions and answers of some sort. And least to say, if we actually look at what's happening on the ground, sometimes I feel both of those major domain has failed us. And the emergence of a new kind of entrepreneur, is what I consider is where the solutions are going to come from. Whether it's racial disputes or poverty and hunger to the war, or pandemic lately, or anything else. If you look at, we have created some major problems in the world, we thought, religion or the governments would have the solution, but the impact has actually been the opposite. And the possibility of, heart-minded, conscious entrepreneurs, I truly think that, that there's a new era of entrepreneurship, focusing on being on the side of the new model that Bucky referred to, many times. And that's, I think entrepreneurs will make the real difference and create the solutions that the world actually requires. See, the world is hungry for a new kind of leadership. The pandemic has highlighted a very different reality, a new reality. As I said earlier, the technology-led disruption over the last decade, especially, that was already underway, has been accelerated. over the last 12 to 14 months. We all knew these changes are coming, but didn't expect to see them so soon. And this transformation that we are going through is building a new model that will make the existing one, obsolete. And that is currently underway as we live. It's happening right under our nose. So what we're going to cover today is obviously key trends, digital trends that we got to pay attention to that's driving this transformation and creation of the new model, digital platform opportunities. We want to increase the awareness of data and privacy and how do we take control of our data and privacy. How do we actually own our content and data as a key strategic asset? And how do you really, as entrepreneurs, as business community, or anyone with a heart, how do you increase your impact in the world and increase the revenue in the business by leveraging some of the emerging opportunities via data and technology? These are some of the things that we will cover today. See, as I said earlier, we are creating a new model, shifting from reacting to the crisis, right? That was a lot of 2020. We are reacting. We had to figure out how do we survive and how do we operate in this lockdown era, right? To now we are moving to reinventing and participating in the creation of the future. And then the boldest, most visionary leaders are defining the future. There's no question about it. There's no doubt about it. There's an era of bold and visionary leaders to really shape the future. And as we are shaping the future, obviously the times are uncertain and it requires us to master digital technologies. And here's what I say, anyone here, people could be in different types of businesses, and technology has been a component of the business, for many organizations, many entrepreneurs. It's important that everyone really gets this and, stay home with this, that every business is a technology business. We are in 2021. There is no business that is not a technology business. And if someone who does not think about their business as a technology business, they're not going to be in the business in 3 years' time. And I've been saying this for last 3 years. It's more 3 to 5 years I've been saying this. It's more true than ever before, right? So, there could be any business, food, manufacturing, to restaurants, to real estate, to farming, to banking or insurance, or coaching and training organizations, to physiotherapy, to medicine, to just pick a profession. And I invite you to consider yourself and your business, no matter what your thought processes has been so far. I invite you to consider, for next 60 minutes, 120 minutes, whatever time we are together, no matter the view that you have about your business, consider for a moment, for this time that we are together, that you are a technology business. And it's going to be pretty vital for you to get this. And not relating to your business as a technology business is one of the biggest, the most fatal mistake you can make strategically as business owners or entrepreneurs. So, in this era, people who used to be fast follower, they're no longer going to be survived. What do I mean by fast followers? Fast followers is, yep, we saw something, someone's doing something, that's working. We're going to copy that, right? We will follow them and, and we'll make it as well. Even in fact, how I grew up, I remember, it's like, if you want to be successful, just copy, someone that you role model and, you'll get that. See, that is not going to survive in this disruption that's happening right under our nose. See, your new customer is digital, is unpredictable, and easy to lose. And I want that, let it sink in for a moment. The customer that you encounter now is digital, unpredictable, and very easy to lose. See, the world that we have, right now that we find ourselves in will eventually return to a more recognizable normal. Okay, we all hope so, and I think it will happen. However, that normal will be digital. You must view your digital strategy not as a part of marketing or customer experience or a product, but as a core driver of the customer experience and the growth. And this is, again, so critical for every business owner, every entrepreneur, every company to really get this, that we are not going back to, the world is not going back to how it used to be, before COVID. It's not. There's this model, this new model is being created, and it's going to continue, that transformation is going to continue. And the digital strategy needs to be part of the core driver of the outcome, experience, and the growth. So see, the new opportunities have actually emerged specifically in last 12 to 14 months, right? To re-platform your business, your life, creating entirely new kinds of value and becoming an industry leader. It's been there for a decade in one sense. However, if you look from life between now to next 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, this is a massive opportunity to re-architect, reimagine your life, your business, your industry, your society, the community, and participate. We all confront a choice every day of our life, choice from what am I going to have for breakfast to what am I going to have for lunch, or when are we going to out for dinner tonight, or, what are we doing this weekend? Every moment we're making a choice. And one of the choices that we all confront as entrepreneurs is, choice to either participate in the creation of this new model, or, choice to be a victim of this new model. I think of, we can be a leader and participants in the creation of the new model instead of the victim of it, because those who don't participate will 100% be wiped out as this transformation is emerging and it's happening, under our eyes. See, the leadership and this participating in this new model creation actually demands that you prioritize the technology innovation in response to what is wanted and needed in the world. There is a lot that is needed. There's a lot that is wanted in the world. And, we come from an innovation in technology to create the solutions that would be a hallmark of leading and participating in this new model creation that's happening globally. See, we need to recognize that we are no longer competing for market share or revenue or customers. We are not. We are actually competing to build our vision of the future faster than the competition. And I would let that sink in. We traditionally come from, competition, I think competition is stupid anyway. But, even if you look at, it's like, it's not a competition for customers or competition for revenue or, how much market share my company is going to have. It's really a competition to build our vision of the future faster than somebody else. And, we rather have that be positive, be conscious, be heart-centered, be ethical than not. And if I win in that competition, then I'll have a better and a positive impact in the world versus somebody else who might not have the same intentions. So to me, that's the real competition that is happening in the world right now, right? See, and understanding the disrupting and powerful trends is a key to leverage as we participate, as we compete for this creation of this new model, right, in this decade. So we're going to start to examine what are these key trends that we know to pay attention to. And in some of the next slides that you will see, there's a lot of information that's coming your way, right? However, I would just say, bear with us and we'll go through all that, okay? So here's what I call major trends that are happening that we got to pay attention to. And I'm going to go through them one by one. One of the major first trend is architecting a better future, right? Number two, digital twins. What does it even mean that a digital twins? Digital twins is, a replica, a clone of you and your business that really mimics and expresses who you are, your wisdom, your knowledge, your dream. your practices, your processes in a digital world, right? And then the process of creating that digital twin, that's a major trend that we got to pay attention to. Communities, is another major trend. Instead of individual or groups, it's actually forming into the communities, and communities are shaping and influencing a lot that's going on globally. Number 4, anywhere, everywhere, and anytime. Now, today's consumer is actually expecting these kind of experiences, product or service interactions. I want to be wherever I am. I want to consume your product or service anytime I want to. So the era of 9 to 5, or these are the times when you are open for business. Those boundaries have collapsed significantly over last 12 to 14 months as people move to Zoom, right? And it's major accelerating trend. If you look at number 5, this was always, I go to my work, my study with what I've learned in the accelerated curriculum with Doria, and even my work and, at Landmark, the care, the concern for we, the us, as humanity, as a one single global family, versus me and me life, me world, to actually shifting that and being concerned and care for us world. Now, again, that's evidently accelerated over last 12 to 14 months. If it's okay for me to be healthy, and I cannot wear a mask and not take care of the social distance and whatever, however, I can actually inadvertently and unknowingly putting somebody else's life at risk. And larger and better we operate as a society from we world, better off we all are. More I operate from, it's only me and I care for what I want, and it's just, there's a much bigger impact, and I'll be actually less better off than that. Now, that trend is also highly accelerated. It was already underway. Some conscious thinkers have been talking about it. However, it's been accelerated, and we have much bigger evidences for that now. Right? Number 6, working together, apart. This session itself could be an example of working together, apart. And organizations and teams and communities and people have to work together to create this new model. However, we have to maintain certain social distance, right? Like we are all sitting in different parts of the world, in our comfort of our lounge rooms or wherever you might be sitting. However, we are working together to create new thought processes, to participate in these new models. And this is another major trend that a lot of technologies are driving, but it's a social and a global trend that is fueled by technology. Number 7, data ownership and respect for privacy. Just pause for a moment. How many times we have heard Facebook has leaked our data? Recently, there has been an article in the news, 500 and some million users' personal data has been leaked by Facebook, and it's largely accessible on the net. People's identities being compromised. And, while there is, some of these platforms that we see are great and they help bringing and connecting people, but in last 10, 20 years, we have become the product. Our data about our life has become the product. There has been a first of its kind of a lawsuit in Australia where an outcome came about where Google was fined millions of dollars for not protecting the consumer data and the location history of the data on the Android mobile operating system. And then in the general population, the general consciousness, general awareness, in our customers and for all of us, there is much more awareness for what are these people doing with my data. So if you understand this trend, this concern that your customers have, your communities have, and you take actions to, attend to those concerns of privacy, respect, it's a recipe, it's a great way to actually earn the trust and therefore a long-lasting relationship with customers. Great for business, great for the community, and it's just what's needed and wanted in the world. If I move on to number 8, artificial intelligence. Now, a lot of people consider this as a new or emerging technology. I like to dispute that it's not. It's been actually around since 1960s, since the emergence of computing era, right? AI has been around, automation and AI. It's just that some of the technologies that's happened over the last 5 to 7, 8 years, the technological advances has fast-tracked the application of AI in a way that is now so embedded in our life. And that's one of the major trend where, that again helps us to create our own digital twin when we operate in a 24/7 environment. And it's a major tech trend to pay attention to, because our life is not only changing like in a way that we never imagined, it's going to continue to change over next decade in a way that is unprecedented. Voice user interaction, number 9, that's another major trend. We all getting familiar with Siri and Alexa on Amazon platform or Google AI. When we talk to our phone or we talk to Alexa, these are the beginning of voice interaction. The global investment that's going into this place, this is one major life-defining and industry-defining evolution that's happening in how we humans interact with computing technologies. I remember when I started dealing and interacting with computers back in late 80s and early 90s, there was just a black screen and there was no mouse. There was just black screen with green text characters. Then there was a mouse and a graphical user interface. And that when Mac and Windows came out with the mouse and you can go and click on something, right? What happens is that added about 1.5 billion people to the computing in the next decade, between 95 to 2005. And then we had iPhone, coming out, where now you can swap and, touch and tap. And now, that actually added another 2 to 3 billion consumers on the internet. My mom would have never used a computer, but she has a smartphone and she sends me WhatsApp messages. She doesn't know how to use a computer, but she's actually using a computer when she's using smartphone, right? Now what's happening is this voice user interface, and that's going to add rest of the world on the computing. We currently have about 4 to 5 billion people. That's going to be added to rest of the computing, right? Rest of the world. What does that mean for our business? Cloud platforms. Everything is on cloud. I don't need to have those massive computers now in my office. It's all on cloud. Personalization and videos. We have heard the stories of TikTok or Facebook, and how Instagram, Facebook is driving the attention economy. However, there's an era of a lot more personalization and video as a content, as an engagement with the customers. Another major trend to pay attention to and not ignore. More important and not the least, empathy is the heart of customer experience, and customer experience is at the heart of winning or losing in business, right? If you look at number 13, blockchain and cryptocurrencies, major disruptive trends that's transitioning and transforming the financial ecosystem of the world. I won't go in a lot of details about it. There's a lot that's available, accessible. However, that's something that we got to pay attention to in terms of the trust in the transactions and the what cryptos technologies is doing in the world. The final, but not the least important one, the most important one, I would say, is the shift to owned platforms and ecosystems. Instead of using free versions, free WhatsApp or Facebook, Instagram, there is a subtle but very important shift happening that I want to have my customers and my team and all that interact on a platform, an ecosystem that I own versus somebody else owns, and they do whatever they do with the data. That shift is already underway, and it's something to really pay attention to because it's very disruptive. I'm just going to pause here for the moment. Doria, any thoughts? Oh, you're on mute.
I am on mute. Can we go ahead and and take the screen share and let's look around. Let me look around and see who is here. And there we are. Thank you so much. Okay, so who of our friends has any thoughts? If you are in technology, you're using some apps and you're doing something with technology. Any thoughts that you would like to share with Jay? Anyone? Just raise your hand or speak up. Dr. Liddy, go ahead, Dr. Liddy.
Hi, Jay. Thank you for sharing such detailed information. I'll share two things and then I'll allow others to share. First, I have always been a little worried, concerned, frightened, maybe, about technology. I always felt it was a different vibration from our humanistic vibration. And it's nothing to do with the Matrix movie, although that might have something to do with it, right? But I always felt that technology was anti-human behavior, that it was forcing a routine within our spirit that I felt was not allowing creativity and empathy to be created, that it was so routine based and it was so specifically driven that the spontaneity of being human and caring was not present. So it was interesting to see, as you laid out the concepts that you did, that empathy was present as a key trend along with the technology that you're describing. So that's my first thought. Is this what I saw was a variance between being human and technology, right? To choose one or the other, that you could not blend them together for it to really work in a good way. Yeah. You could blend it to make it work in a bad way, right? And we could think of, the Germans during World War II using a lot of technology, right? In a very bad way. Yes. The second comment that I wanted to share with you is, how do we do it? Now, my concern about technology versus our human spirit. How do we do it? How do we blend it and still maintain what I would call our essence of who we are without getting into a routine? Is really fascinating with me. So if you wanted to share some answers, that would be lovely. But if other individuals want to join the conversation, that's equally as lovely.
No, definitely. So, how do we do it? I'm going to come to that. That's going to be part of my presentation. Okay. Let me address the first one, which is the, technology, is, let's just say, I don't know, you didn't use that word evil, but, like bad versus good. See, here's what I say to that, lady, is technology is not bad or good. It's just a tool. It's what we humans do with it and how we choose to use it. Unfortunately, so far, the choices that we humans have made with the technology is not probably very healthy or productive or, for the good, right? But, and there has been, it's technology, or the power of technology has been used for personal gains at the disadvantage of others, in driving the personal motives or ambitions or, goals in a way that disadvantages and actually have a negative impact on the rest of the world and other people. But now the progress and the advances that we have made, you and I, when we have people with good heart, with consciousness, who actually want to make a real difference with, in the world, and for the humanity, we actually have technology accessible to us, usable to us in a way that we can also leverage the power of technology for the good. And now what we're observing is an emerging trend where a lot of entrepreneurs are actually conscious and using, as you said, empathy along with the technology solutions to make a bigger and a good impact in the world versus using it for evil. So it all comes down to the choices that you and I make with the power, that is accessible and is available to us. Yeah.
So thank you so much for that, Jay. Everybody, this is not quite Q&A yet. He's not finished with his presentation. So this was going to be a quick one. So we'll just take Michelle Patterson, and then we'll come back for Q&A in a little bit. Okay, Christopher, Joy, and Yannick. Okay, so go ahead. Let me see. Where is my Michelle? Michelle, go ahead and
Hello.
ask your question.
Yeah, so I wanted to just a couple of different comments because all of us are CEOs, we're business owners. One of the most struggling, I think, parts of being a CEO is when you bring in your partners. And I have to tell you, and I think this is a really, really good time to bring this up, but the Real Share went through and we evaluated several different technology companies. And then we went in and evaluated 4. And Paul and Carol can tell you, I mean, it was very, very, very challenging. And partly because of this dance that we're doing with technology and, putting people, over profits and within these broken systems that we have. And it was Jay, when I ended up chatting with him, and he was the last company that we evaluated, and it was a referral from Dame Doria Cordova. And so I told my board, I said, we have to wait because I have one other company that I need to speak with. They came highly, highly referred. And when we were on, and this goes back out to Dr. Lydia, is just how because I hadn't had that same response. But when I talked to Dr. J, he asked me about my health. He asked me, how I was doing. And right away, and again, coming from corporate America and being in corporate, I mean, that's not the questions that you ask ever. You get right into business, you get right into talking it through. And because of that, I went back to my board and said, you know what, this is who we need to work with. He has the same values that we share. And I want to just point this out because so often we get enticed with that carrot that gets dangled in front of us. And we think that we need to make decisions based on, and one of the decisions I had was to do tech over tech for equity. And it was very, very enticing until I had an opportunity to really understand where my tech partners, really their values stood. And he wasn't just talking about it, but he was actually acting it and asking, firsthand about my health. And so, Jay, my question to you is, my experience in working with you was that's how you've operated. That's how you always show up. And is that the case? And then how do you pick partners? Because we had an opportunity to hear from your partner, but, being able to pick those partners, because it is, I really had to go and do some soul searching. And Paul and Carol will tell you, I mean, it was agonizing because it was me setting up this company, and wanting it to be profitable and have that impact, but really wanting to do it with the right leadership.
Yeah, I think it's a very simple question, right? And very easy and a short answer. I'll try to make it short, right? Before we get to the Q&A, it's really, it's the deep belief that the solutions that the world requires is going to be provided by entrepreneurs, not the religion as a domain or not the government, as a domain. It's going to come from the entrepreneurs. So I work with entrepreneurs who are, who actually want to make a difference in the world. The wealth creation and the money and the profit and all that is a byproduct. If you make a genuine, awesome difference in the world and come up with a solution that actually forwards humanity towards this new model that we are in the middle of creation of, right? So, when you talk to someone, it's very easy to differentiate, is this person all about just money and profit versus is there a bigger purpose? And just one conversation, it's obvious, we speak our being much more than our words or actions, right? Being speaks louder than words and actions. And it comes through when you actually have a conversation. So is there a purpose? Is there a, something that is bigger than just the business as a structure, or the company as a profit, or the product as a solution? Yes, there is. Just makes it a lot easier to make that choice. I hope that
Thank
answers
you
the question.
so much. Thank you so much. So some of you want to make contributions and things. If there's something that you can put right now on the chat, if not, we will come back to this. Jay, is this a good time for me to make some announcements and then you continue with your presentation? And then we will go ahead and have Q&A. Would that be okay?
Sure.
Okay, perfect. So very quickly, you guys, next week, and Connie's going to put it up. When you got your a notification for you to come into this event, a reminder, you also should have had in there the Clubhouse link for you to come in next week. So next week is 9 a.m. California time, 12 noon East Coast. For those of you in the East Coast, we want to have you there. And then, of course, for our friends in France and in the UK, Italy, and all that, they will be coming in too in Clubhouse. So we'd love to have you. If any of you need a Clubhouse invitation, I have 3 extra ones right now. So just go ahead and let Connie know, and Connie will let me know. And I'll need your phone number for me to be able to send it to you. So I do not read the chat. It's very hard for me. I'm handling a bunch of stuff here. So let Connie know, who is our right-hand person here. And so we had a great one. The first one was a little bit, as everything else on the first thing that we do, it, a little bit sketchy. The one that we had last week was really fantastic. We were there for nearly 3 hours and it just kind of kept evolving. So even it starts at 9 a.m., but even if it's a couple of hours later, you can check in and see if we're still there. It just kind of evolved into this beautiful conversation. And I think there's a few of you from that Clubhouse here today. I also wanted to tell you that after this event, we're all going to migrate to the Asia Pacific Top Talent JV. And so that's toptalentjv.com/Asia. There's a bunch of our friends in there right now. That's, they decided to go ahead and do that since this is recorded. And so for those of you, especially that you're in the Asia Pacific region, go and hang out with David Fagan and with beautiful Isabel. Yesterday, I was coming and going from the event, again, very busy time. And we went into this conversation about tools. It's my favorite one. It's when people begin to share all these different tools that they use, not only for marketing, but for being organized. And Jay, I have to send you some of those links. It was so fascinating. It was how to do, management and of teams and things. And I really want you to show, Jay, when you're done at the Master Dojo app. I feel I was really inspired by you, of course, all this time, but also yesterday when they were talking about different tools. And today I'm hoping that maybe you can go in for a little bit and even talk about Master Dojo if you can. And I know that the weekend. So it's toptalentjv.com/Asia. And Connie will put that on there. And then of course we have Dr. Letitia Wright with us, who, thank you, Dr. Letitia. Your ears must be burning because Dr. Liddy, every time we talk about the platform that we're creating, is called Law, Money, and You. And I missed the Law, Money, and You behind you, Dr. Liddy. And so we are creating some of my most intelligent, gorgeous friends who are going to be in that platform. And we want to educate the masses, and particularly around law. And I'm sure Dr. Liddy is putting information about herself. But for those of you that think that you have to wait until you get really big to have things like trademarks and different, all the different legal ways to really protect and build your business. This is not about protection from fear, but it's actually adding value, creating more value for your businesses and your organization. So Dr. Liddy and I finally, we're spending endless hours creating a platform that is going to be very, very powerful. It's unbelievable. Dr. Liddy is around 27 years younger than me. And you would think that we were the Bobbsey twins, you know, I just like, just our thinking. So she has been doing all the law stuff, and I have been doing in business all the stuff that she teaches. And the things that I send attorneys to is what she teaches. So it's a beautiful combination. And she's sorry that she missed Fridays with Doria about a month ago when I was going through my licensing model. She did get to watch it though, where I kept saying, "Where's Dr. Liddy?" She was out on a hot date, you guys, on a Friday night with her sweetie instead of being with us. Anyway, she's going to be on in 2 weeks from now. You want to put that on your schedule. You want to bring your teams, because this is kind of like the foundation of everything that I keep teaching on how do you build businesses. And Jay, you know, you probably could add to that conversation, right? Because when you're building technology, you really need to differentiate yourself. And there are certain things that you do need to, right? You need to copyright, trademark. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right. You know, protecting your data and intellectual property is so important in this world when it can be so copied so easily.
Yes. So now Dr. Letitia Wright, who we want to also be helping us and working on her crowdfunding, and of course, Nicola, you know, Smith Jackson, and whoever wants to be part of our platform is going to be developed in the next few years. You know, Letitia has taken on my Adopt a Homeless, you know, that particular project. That it's not that you're going to take a homeless home, but the guidelines and the distinction that she has. And please, if you can just, whatever you can donate to that, because Letitia is taking care of some people that you never know, particularly now with COVID and the global pandemic and the global paradigm shift. So much has occurred that have left people that in a million years they ever thought that they were going to be homeless, and they are. And this is not just in the United States, it's actually globally. So thank you so much for supporting her. And anything you see from Dr. Letitia Wright, or, you know, and I'm not sure whether Dr. Vijaya is here from India, but remember, we've been supporting those 40 families, you know. So instead of going out for a sushi dinner, you may want to go ahead and contribute, you know, to our beautiful people that we at least have access to support.
Yes.
And thank you so much. And your Wealth Tribe, Carol Hodges is always supporting us with that. And yourwealthtribe.com. That's another level of technology. I don't think that is Tom Fay here? Has anybody seen him here? Okay. So maybe a little bit later, Carol can speak a little bit about that after Jay has spoken for a little bit. And again, I want to, Maria Simone and chat send all their love. Please send a lot of love to Maria's mama. She is in the East Coast taking care of Mamacita, you know, who had an accident, a major operation. So we just keep sending a lot of love to our beautiful beloveds. We have another member of Arjuna. He is one of the transformational leaders. And yesterday, we just heard that his beautiful son passed away. I mean, it's tough when our friends lose children. So our friend Arjuna, let's just put him and his family in our prayers for understanding and for love and light. I can't even imagine. It just breaks my heart at the thought that he's going through that. So we just send our love whenever we can. You know, one little prayer can make a huge difference. And of course, I'll have to do a Ho'oponopono soon and include many of our friends and children that are passing on. And then, of course, just continue coming back. Paolo is flying this weekend. So Paolo always sends his love. And of course, we also absolutely love our beautiful Paul Schumann, that always helping everybody getting out of debt. You know, I'm sure you have seen Paul Schumann's statements there, how to connect with him so that you can go ahead and work with him if you need some support with that. Just some tips that you can learn from him. The same thing from Carol Hodges. Thank you so much. And then, you know, You can always be an affiliate with all of us. Keep inviting your friends, and you know, just go and watch the replays at Fridays with Doria. And I have my own my new site that I would love for you to look for and that is the access to cash course.com. That was my new site, one of my first new websites. We're going through a big transformation. These things take a little while, but David Fagan and his wife, we're all working on the new revised copy of my Access to Cash book. And then for your friends that need support, send them to moneyandyou.com to download the free book on the business success model. Remember that I like to pass free education, and, you know, go to my Facebook at times and look at all the different platforms that I'm in. Dr. Liddy has a beautiful show. You know, follow each other, in Clubhouse. I am at Doria Cordova, and see if you want to see where I go. Sometimes I have chosen some beautiful groups, the 1%ers only club. I really love them, and some other groups. And so just see some of the people that we kind of have settled in. Clubhouse is like anything else. I don't know if I would call it so much a social media. It is in a way, but in other ways, it's actually this huge radio station. You know, you can walk around with it and listen to it. And if you're a voyeur and likes to listen to other people's conversation, it's heavenly. And I have found beautiful chants, beautiful prayers. I have done Ho'oponopono. So like any other platform, except for ours in the future, it will never have any dark side or any strange things. Any platforms that I create, Dr. Liddy, we create, we don't have. But Clubhouse, you know, has some strange humans in there. You can just move on. You don't have to listen to it. There's always the leave quietly button that you can leave any room, and then go find people, go find your tribes and people that you really get along with. And so join the Money and You Club. And we're just building organically. We're not pushing hard. We're just moving, you know, at the speed of grace. So with that, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Dr. Jay Pandya, take it away.
All right, thank you. Doria, how much more time I have? Oops, I can't hear you.
You can have all the time in the world. I was going to say, usually, you know, people sometimes have commitments, but they come back and listen. You know,
Okay.
you have to the top of the hour, but
Yes.
soon you may want to do your Master Dojo. I would love to see that.
I can show that, yes. Just a few more things to, you know, as we come to complete this conversation. You know, we have created a specific world, you know, and Einstein said what he said: the world we created is a product of the thinking. We can't change it without changing our thinking. And, you know, and let's just get a moment, you know, to get connected with what's the world we have created, right? What exists right now? What are some of the things we're dealing with? Polarization between people, pro-vaccine, anti-vaccine conversation. There's a distrust in government governance model. There's a more gap between rich and poor, depressed and separated families, increased domestic racial violence, you know, rate of suicide. Is much, much more. And this is the world that we actually have created. That's what we have. You know, some of the employment statistics, you know, I like this, quite an interesting graph that came out of World Trade Organization of the impact of COVID. This is one that I, you know, really draw attention to. First, we thought when the COVID hit, you know, that the economic depression will be that blue line. It ended up being, you know, the actual pink line, right? And that's about $6 trillion of value being wiped off the GDP, you know, and that's the world that we currently have. We created that over the last 12 months. So there's always going to be a solution. And the fundamental premise of the solution is that by enabling key and digital distribution, you know, of the wisdom, the skills, the masterful knowledge, you know, we can fast track the new thought process, the experiences, you know, the empathy to win the competition in building our vision of the future faster than the competition. You know, this is probably what Dr. Lydia was pointing to, but, you know, the choice between good and we can actually do that by sharing our wisdom, sharing our dream, you know, knowledge, skills, and experiences in a different way, right? So see, and here's what I say, everyone's got a skills, knowledge, experiences to help others. That's the wisdom. And this wisdom is expressed by your content. And this, when I use the word content, it could be an audio, like a Clubhouse conversation that Doria was referring to on Clubhouse, that's a content, audio, video recordings, your books, the templates, how-tos, all that is a content. All that can be packaged into online offerings, your products and services of digital content, events, like we are actually holding this event on here, Zoom recording, right? Courses, and they can be distributed via digital platforms. And that's one of the major access we have in leading and participating in this new model, right? See, every entrepreneur we know deserves to expand and reach an impact in the world. So, the question is, how do I fully leverage? And this is where, Dr. Lydia, your second question that you asked, how do I do it? Like, how do I leverage this trend and how do I do it to increase my impact and that's revenue of the business, right? And that's the question we want to examine and look at, okay? Go back. This slide kind of really captures the shift that is happening, between traditional business and the customer interactions to actually, there's a value-added marketing. There's a digital platform revolution. There's a voice user interactions and artificial intelligence and automation. These things are actually tipping the balance and is driving force for, the disruption that is happening in a business world in our lives right now. So the way you can think about this is any and all of your customer interactions, you can divide it into two categories. One is, you can call it informational interactions, and the other one is the behavioral change interactions, right? Any product services can be, anything can be divided into these two categories, and they both enable the experience creation. Now, what do we do with that? Well, the informational interactions, there's a massive opportunity here to create your digital twin. And here's why. The left side of this, information, knowledge, your wisdom, questions, issues, concerns that customers, participants raise, training materials, tools and templates, or how do I do XYZ, audio, video recordings, pictures, information assets. That is, repetition of that. It's time-tested knowledge and wisdom, and that creates the value, right? I know Money and You, for example, is a great example, of experiential learning, and there's a lot of content and information from there, right? There also, Money and You kind of cuts through both of those parameters. There's an experience and there's information and content. But then there's a second part, which is interaction that causes transformation. Soft human issues, complex behavioral aspects, and alteration in being and action that produces the results. So you can kind of think about it like two different categories. And the opportunity that we have is that the first category interactions is all data. Any recordings, audio, video recordings, all of that is data that does not need human instinct and judgment. And this data, pictures, graphics, your text-based documents can be used to train machine learning or artificial intelligence to create your digital twin. My dream, Doria, if I say this, allow me to, right, is your wisdom, your experience, your knowledge, your skills, can we create a digital twin of Doria with last 50 years of knowledge, right? And that Doria can be on the beach and doing whatever Doria is doing in Hawaii. But then, globally, people can actually interact with the digital twin of Doria without the barriers of time, time zones, money, or, a language. For a lot of people in this, meeting itself, it's like English is a primary language. But what about all those people who don't understand English, don't speak English? They are being left out of wisdom that is being shared. And, if we create a digital twin, the AI avatar of, Doria, then, we can transcend the barriers of language, the economics and geographic boundaries. And that's what we have been at work on, right? Because then the voice user interactions powered by digital twin would allow people to access the wisdom using natural language. in always on environment. And that's the trend, that's what's happening. That's the trend that you will see unfold over the next decade. So the biggest opportunity, if there's one thing you could take, here's the slide. If you want to take a photo, feel free to, okay? Here's what I see as the biggest opportunity of this decade, is that the sophisticated digital platforms accessed via voice user interface, powered by conversational AI, okay? They are going to enable real-time access to your information, your knowledge, and expert wisdom, that drives the interactions embedded in your data, okay? This will be leading to hyper-personalized service. There is no more a segment, from a marketing context, there is no more a segment of 100,000 people or million people. There's a segment of one. And you need to design products and services for the segment of one. Each individual represents their own segment, right? So, hyper-personalized services in always-on environment where your digital twin of your business services your customers anytime, anywhere, anytime, anywhere, anytime at a highly affordable price point. Because you are not required, you're out of the picture. The time for revenue model gets disrupted. And this is the biggest opportunity of this decade. See, the knowledge experts, masters with skills, knowledge, and wisdom are already generating revenue from digital content, right? Publishing videos on the YouTube or online courses or events and seminars or webinars or podcasts or ebooks, and transitioning physical events to online events. That's already happening. This actually offers the biggest opportunity to prepare for the emerging new model of business and our life. And here's how. Experienced professionals leaving the corporate jobs in search of fulfillment, autonomy, and satisfaction. An era of small, unique business is emerging, right? So every business will have to embed the education, coaching, and training as a part of their marketing and customer engagement strategy. There is no business, earlier I said, there's no business which is not a technology business. Now, the second important thing I would say is that there's no business that can ignore and not embed the education, the coaching, the training component in their marketing and customer engagement strategies, right? And mastering the digital content production and distribution while leveraging platforms to engage customers and prospects will determine the winners and losers in the game of business. Okay, see, the value-added marketing within an engaging and trusted community will be a key characteristic of winners. And you can say, this example, there's a lot of value that, from Fridays with Doria. That's a great example of, value-added marketing, right? And that's what, there's a phenomenal trusted community here that is like-minded, purpose-driven and heart-centered. And that's an important element of, building those communities and engaging those communities and continue to add value is the key aspect of differentiation in this world that's driven from digital disruption. So here's kind of my graphical representation of what I see is going to happen. As the interactions are digitized, knowledge and wisdom will be commoditized. And that changes the business model, because if something is digital, it can almost be free or really low cost compared to high cost. Now that makes it affordable access to wisdom. You can, think about it like a subscription basis, right? If it cost me X $1,000 to go and attend an event like Money and You or business school, if it was on a digital always on environment that I can access anytime that wisdom, then we can reduce the cost of access without the barriers of geography, language, or economics. That makes it affordable. What does that do? It frees up the time. It frees up the time of masters, knowledge experts to create passive revenue from the automation, from the digital twin. What does the impact of that's going to be is influx of whole lot of new people who will be, coming to, creating their masterful content creators. And we will see an influx of whole lot of people becoming, knowledge experts, right? What does that do is it actually changes the market size and potential. The pie becomes much bigger to share. right, creates a new market expansion of the overall market. So that's kind of what I see happening as we speak over next, couple of years or few years. So here's the, bottom line. In the old model, the primary business, barriers in the business expansion and global market, have been geographical boundaries, pricing and economics, and local language and meaningful interactions, right? Where we are talking to our people, potential customers or prospects in English, that itself is a barrier. Why can't I talk to someone in Tamil or Malaysian or Afrikaans or, their local language? Well, as you digitize your business, create a digital twin powered by AI, those barriers start to fall off. And that's the trend that's currently underway. And a massive opportunity for us to ride this trend. In the new model, the world truly becomes your market if you're willing to share your knowledge, your wisdom, and skills by creating the digital twin of your business. Okay, and how do you do that? Let's examine that. See, we're going to start paying attention to your data ownership, data controls, and accessibility of your data. A lot of business owners using the social media platforms for interactions with the customers. And that's, while we think, I made a Facebook groups or Instagram groups or LinkedIn groups, well, these are the free platforms. And we think that we own the data, but the data is actually owned by those platforms. And while you and I get whatever benefits you and I get from having those groups or interactions with our clients on these platforms, there's much bigger advantage and financial gain that is derived by those companies running and hosting those platforms, right? Where you don't have the control of how that data gets used. Classic examples, why a number of times the Facebook, Google CEOs had to appear in US Senate, a number of times because of the questions around data and how the data is being used and what they are doing with the data. In a simplest form, our data, your customer interaction data is used to commercialize, those platforms. And it's it's attention economy, where your attention is being sold to advertisers, companies, right? And that's the model that's emerged. That's probably kind of a negative or the sad reality of digital platform with the choices that humans have made. So here's the data that you got to pay attention to, okay? Your client engagement with your content, whether you're producing podcasts or writing books or articles or blogging or, videos. How are clients interacting with that? What is their interaction with that content? Really important data to understand and capture and own versus somebody else owning it. Client interactions at events and seminars. Really important to understand and own that data versus losing that data. Client interactions with yourself and the community, and as the community interacts with each other. What is that? All of those interactions is also a data. Currently, those interactions happens on WhatsApp groups or Instagram groups or Facebook groups or LinkedIn. What are clients talking about you, your products and services? Really important to, if you can own and master that data and the interactions that, the data that comes from those interactions, vital and critical to prepare and participate in this future. Right? Your client performance, how are they performing? Are they actually fulfilling on what they wanted to accomplish, their goals, what they came to you for? That's all that is actually a data. Are they succeeding? Are they not succeeding? That is a data. Client profiling, who they are, what do they like, what do they value? Understanding that customer or understanding our prospect is so key, but the key to that understanding is, again, data. And if you can create and own and master that data and control it, how it is used purposefully, better it is compared to it's used for some other purpose for which it was not provided. It actually breaks the law, but that's when the law is actually falling insufficient in that domain. Right? And then there is obviously the actions that the clients are taking. What is their feedback and how are they progressing against their goals? all of this is actually a data and information domain. And if you examine where this is happening in your business, here's the sad truth you will encounter. All of this data currently is fragmented. You are very likely using 5, 10, 15, 20 different digital software platforms where this data is fragmented. Most of them you don't own. You might be subscribing and paying a monthly subscription fee, and you think you own it, but you don't. Those platform companies actually own that data. And that's where they are deriving much, much, much bigger financial and economic value than you can currently even comprehend or imagine by some of those free social media and other tools. So, one of the question is, how do you do it? Well, that's where the people are. Social media, that's where the people are. So you can use those channels to acquire and engage your clients to start the interaction. But then the key strategy would be to transition them into your own ecosystem. So you use those channels to acquire your customers, but then you got to have a mechanism to transition them into the ecosystem or the platform that you own. And that's the key to winning in this decade, in this century. I'll just pause here, let you, digest what I've just said. Okay. So
can I just say something real quick? I love that comment called digital twin. That is, it was interesting because I would like it to have a little bit of my personality. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I think that, it is overwhelming right now. Like I wake up to 17 platforms.
yeah.
I really do. And then, like my friends are now texting me why I haven't answered to their text or their WhatsApp or their Telegram and all this and that. And it was like, so I keep choosing just email, but my email system is going into overwhelm. And it's like, I am truly in a technical or digital crisis, and
Correct.
people get upset with you. If you don't, so now I have to check with everyone. How do you like to be communicated to? Because I like email, where some of the people, my younger friends, don't even have an email account anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway, my godchildren say, Auntie DC, you are so old. We don't use email anymore. So thank you so much for answering. I keep thinking that it should have a little bit of your personality, but anyway, continue.
Yeah, but that's the work. That's what I have been at work on. We want to recognize this trend. We recognize this digital overwhelm through these platforms, right? All these platforms are created for some solution. The founders and the owners of their platform, they became billionaires. However, for us using these platforms, there is a real experience of overwhelm, as you just described. But the downside of it, in addition to overwhelm, is the more important asset of your conversations with people, your conversations with market, your conversations with customers. That all of that is actually data on this in a digital form, and it currently does not sit at one place. It's fragmented in 17 platforms owned by different people. You don't own it. And why is that a problem? The reason it's a problem is because when we want to create a digital Doria, digital twin, to train the artificial intelligence models to mimic like you and to talk like you and share your wisdom, right? And have a bit of a personality, as you say, it actually needs to be supported by the data. See, the models, AI models, are actually stupid unless you feed the data and train them to become like you. That's why, if those data is fragmented in 17 platforms and you don't own it, you don't have the opportunity to actually create a digital twin. And that's what we have seen, and if we actually consolidate all those data and interactions into a single platform, what we do end up with is the ownership of the data, decisions on what we do with it, including a strategic advantage and opportunity to actually use that data towards creating a digital twin by AI technologies. And that's the most important message, most important learning people can get from this is every business brings a special expertise, knowledge, skills, and wisdom. And if we pay attention to this, what's happening globally, we can actually take control, ownership of our own data, our interactions with our customers and market, and then use that data to train the digital avatar, digital twin of you. And that's what's going to happen in next few years. The game is to start playing that right now, start owning these data right now by transitioning to the owned platform rather than using those free platforms that are available in social media space. So we have been at work, and we actually been at work in creating this kind of platform, and that's what I'm going to share with you now. Okay, we call this platform a Master Dojo. Even there's a name, there is a reason behind calling it Master Dojo, where everyone who is a master of their domain, masters, this is the place where masters go to learn and share with the other masters, right? That's the heart of why we called it a Master Dojo. We created it as a single digital platform enabling entrepreneurs to create a digital twin of themselves and their business. And we've been on this journey for since last 2.5 to 3 years. So Master Dojo is fueled and driven from all of these trends. The philosophy in the creation of Master Dojo is there is a thought process, there is an attention to how do we leverage and master these trends in this technology that we are been at work on, right? So here's what Master Dojo can help people with, and I'm going to show this to you of how to do that, but I'll just touch briefly. Yeah, you create a new digital revenue stream to get more leverage. Instead of being and trading time for revenue, actually creating digital products that sells by itself and digital content that is valuable and creating a revenue from there, right? Expanding the market globally without geographic constraints, and staying in front of mind by, with the best clients and ongoingly value adding so that you're always the first business that they think of. Okay. Building a rock solid community to future proof your business. Communities are you don't need to sell anything to the community, but if you build a community and actually keep adding a value and keep the communities engaged, then you can come up and create a new product in the future or new service in the future, and the community is there as a ready market for it because of a long-lasting trusted relationship. Master Dojo allows you to build a community and actually have interactions with the community. Increase the difference that you make, your retention rates in the customers, and the value of each client increases over a period of time. And that's what Master Dojo can actually help with, right? And actually growing the business via most cost-effective method possible, which is the warm, qualified referrals. The word of mouth referrals is one of the key, still remains one of the key acquisition source for new customers acquisition. And we all seen how Clubhouse has gone viral. What if you had, we all have to be invited on Clubhouse to get a Clubhouse account. Right? Now that invitation process, what if you could use it in your business where your clients or your fans or family or network actually sends an invitation and introductions about your business to their friends and family. The most powerful method, we digitized it for every business. Every business can take advantage of it via Master Dojo. You don't have to, it's not, that privilege is not only accessible to, Airbnb or YouTube or now Clubhouse. We build that technology for every entrepreneur, for every business owner, right? That's what Master Dojo can help people with. What is it? How does it do it? Well, it's a marketplace platform. And also a custom branded mobile app for your business. So it can be both, right? It simplifies the publishing of the digital content like videos, audios, and documents, again, in your ownership without losing it. And it's because it's a mobile phone app, and now you have about 4 billion mobile phone users in the market. You are now accessible in a 4 billion people market, not limited to your local market and the local language. Engaging clients and prospects as a single community via connections, search, and messaging, where the community can actually find and connect each other, message each other. Right now, that's a value-added feature. We all use WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger, etc. But what if your community is actually using your platform for connections and interactions? Now, that data is anonymous, of course. However, you can learn from the insights of what that data is telling you. What are your clients or customers talking about? What are their struggles? Where are they winning? And if you can get insights in the key sentiments of your community, your messaging, your narrative, your engagement, your product service creation could actually be more data informed rather than the guesswork. And that's the use of how MasterDojo can actually provide and the benefit and advantage it can get. Of course, there are digitized payments for seamless payments, right? Word of mouth referrals, as I said, and own the community interactions to protect privacy and respect trust. Instead of doing your community interactions on Facebook groups, what if we actually own that data instead of Facebook owning the data? Then what Dr. Lydia was identifying about use of the data and use of the technology, we can actually make better choices with that data versus Mr. Zuckerberg doing what Mr. Zuckerberg does, right? So this is where the MasterDojo, we actually paid attention to all of these factors and built a platform that every business owner can use. Here's how I highlight it. It's a core value, right? Engaging the community, referral marketing, digitized for your business, online sales channel, and publishing, and driving the digital content. Those are the 4 pillars, on which MasterDojo is built as a core capability, while we keep doing bigger and better things with it. As more people start to use it, more people, provide their feedback. But it essentially, helps you to strategically acquire client through word of mouth referrals in a digitized form, engage the community, and actually streamline the business operations. So here are the key benefits, how I like to call it. You actually have your own platform, your own digital ecosystem. We actually built it. You don't have to go to build it and solve that problem. Custom branding it for your client experience via your own smartphone app, where you can own the client's data forever. You digitally generate referrals and new prospects from your clients. You build and enable interactions between a community of clients. You share your content securely, protect your intellectual property. You create events, products, and services and allow customers to buy through secure online payments, and actually share clients' testimonials and results with the rest of the community. Every time your clients are sharing, about the success and the benefits that they've derived from interacting with you or your business, right? It's actually an asset. If that can be captured in a video, that's a phenomenal asset that you are building and creating. Instead of having a professional photographer, what if this could be done via an app at a moment of truth, when the person has just had a breakthrough moment and they go, oh my God, I got this from this interaction of this product or service. And now they can record it on the app itself and it becomes your asset. And client can actually say, hey, you can do this with it or not do with that. See, we want to brief, again, in the principles of privacy and trust, and, its clients are a lot more comfortable doing that if they know that this is your data and that video that they're recording is not on, some Facebook or Instagram or some public platforms. There's this lot more bigger and better things and communication you can get from it. So those are the key benefits. So that's what we have built. In fact, what Doria, you were sharing earlier, I can actually show some parts of the MasterDojo for people here.
Yes, please do that, because it's fascinating. I was talking to Dr. Liddy yesterday because she was talking about, she has had and other friends have had some apps developed.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering, and I was sharing about yours, and some of them have certain services and things and others don't. So how do you shop around for a good app for your business? I'm always so curious to hear from all of you experts. How do you do it?
It's, how do I do it? Shop around, I look for what do I actually want to achieve? Make a list of but the problem with that part or that philosophy, for somebody else to use. Now, I have spent my life in this industry. I know what do I want to achieve, but I also know the trends and underlying technological shift and how people are using the data. So I don't only look at what do I want, right? It's also understanding of these trends and then making a right choice. Is the biggest factor. Yes, there is a features and functionality in every app, and then there's certain things it does and doesn't do. Yeah, and that's a simple evaluation. It's what are the company who is publishing the app, what are they doing with the data? Those are the important questions. How are they using the data? Do you own that data, or somebody else is owning it and they're going to use it for whatever purpose that they're going to use it? Those are the important questions that I find people don't ask. And when people ask, it can actually change the decisions that people make about what apps to use and where to go.
So those horror stories that you hear, because I have heard some horror stories about apps with people that, well, they didn't have enough backup financing, they closed down, they've taken your data, they started pitching your customers. Is that prevalent? Is that
happens all the time?
Okay.
Yeah, the technology ecosystem is quite complex. Technology, is quite complex, and people who are not in it don't necessarily appreciate what goes on behind the scenes. And it needs funding. It needs, better heart and a good purpose. And, from time to time, whether it's a heart and the purpose or the funding or other constraints, that drives people to make short-term decisions that compromising the values, right? Ends up in some of the bad experiences. People who don't, if somebody goes to build their own app, that does all these things, it could cost $200, $300, $400,000, $1 million, and still not get the outcome that they want because they don't understand tech or don't understand how to interact with people who come from tech, right? So there are challenging space, and we wanted to tackle that. I spent my life in big corporates with massive corporations, and I could see, in a good, conscious, heart-centered entrepreneurs who actually want to positively make a difference, they don't have an avenue to leverage tech for how it can be used, which is why, Bucky said, right? If you see a problem, it's yours to solve. We said, well, I see a problem, it's mine to solve. So we created Master Dojo as a solution to that problem. And it's a work of a lifetime, and, it will keep taking lifetime, but that's the journey that we started.
So show us a little bit. I love that.
Sure. So I'll share my phone. Okay. Okay, you can see my phone on the screen, yeah? So what you can see right now, so I'm going to show you two different versions of Master Dojo. What is on the screen right now is what is called a marketplace version of Master Dojo, where all the knowledge experts, the coaches or business coaches or healers or breathing coaches, or anyone who is a knowledge expert, who contribute through knowledge, wisdom, intellectual property to their clients via online content or events, seminars, that's what's here. If you, as a market, you can click and browse here. We have See Money and You on the top. That's where we started. And you can see, who is here, different management consultants, from all over the world who is here, right? Someone from Thailand, we have our own company listed here, social media schools and, kids education companies, physics teacher from Sri Lanka, or, some financial education, love and relationship education. So they're all, as a marketplace, it's all here. We have Money and You in Japan, that's here, right? So, all different people are here. right? And the important part that I would draw your attention, people can select, I'm looking for an educator or a knowledge expert, or I'm looking for an online program, or I'm looking for a specific event. Okay, and let's say these are the breeding experts, right? And if I select this person, I can see their profile, their video, their pictures, their products and services that is offered as a popular offerings, right? The content that they might have published, the testimonials, all of that here. So let me show you another person, right? So this is our partner, what you heard from Craig Doyle earlier, 90 Degrees in Australia. You can see, the introduction video, let's say Money and You video, right? And you can see that. So you can use this video as an avenue for introducing your business. It's like your profile video. This is what the clients would see first as they're exploring the marketplace. Any products and services that are there published, are published here. So you can see that, right? And then, if I can go, all right, there's this product called Thrive Thursday weekly webinars, on all the recordings of the webinars, Craig's beautiful wife, Rill, right? And I can access all the webinars. So you can see all, when is this event or this thing happening? Is it online? Is it offline? I can make it favorite. As a customer, I can share about it, or I can access all the content. And all the content is, now, text documents, videos, audio, I can access all that here, right? So it's a mechanism for selling the content, products or services, right? But so this is one version of it. Let me show you another version, which is what we call custom branded app. We have a same, it's all driven from Master Dojo platform, but it's now branded for this business called 90 Degrees. Nobody else is there. The app icon, people can, customers can actually go to the app store and download 90 Degrees Global as an example. Or this can be any, your business. Doria, we're gonna do an app for Doria, download Doria from App Store. And all the content and the wisdom can be actually on that app, right? So what it will look like, all the videos are there. Okay, we have Money and You programs happening in Perth, the Brisbane, and people can actually simply go here, learn about the Money and You as a program. People can know, oh, it's an event, learn about the event, and what it is, who are the trainers, what are the learning outcomes I will have from this particular program. Oh, here are all the trainers. We have Carrie, and let me learn a bit more about Carrie. So, trainer profiles are there, and I want to buy it. Now, Apple takes 30% commission from the, from the sale of the digital products from the app, right? So what we did was we say add to the wish list exactly what Amazon or Audible app does for the audiobooks, and that the person will receive an email. They don't have to fill out a form, credit card and all that, because there's a digital wallet that they can have on Master Dojo, right? Add their credit card only once and it's all there. All they have to do is add to my wish list. And now in the background, they've received an email with a payment instruction. And so that the transaction happens outside of the Apple app. And Apple, we don't have to give 30% to Apple, as an example, right? But the content access is now available via the app. Why? It's all single platform. One thing I want to show you, I think, a lot of people love, here's a community, right? All the graduates of Money and You in Australia and New Zealand, whoever registered via this app, we can list here. And people can simply go to their profile. So I go to my profile, there's a personal details here, my business details here, right? My company, my organization, my social media profile, my address, my products and services. This is about my business and my skills profile. So, I can add my skills profile here. Now, those are and by the way, we added Japanese support. I saw Raymond earlier, right? So we're working with Raymond in Japan. So we produced a Japanese version of this. So this is in English as well as Japanese. And so if all the customers, they have their profile, they have an opportunity to create the listing of their own product and service in their own business and share about their skills via their profile. And once somebody has actually populated their profile, they can actually, now it's all visible via the community. So if I go to the community, and I go, okay, well, let me see, and now I can select this person in the community. And, now this person has not populated the profile other than putting a photo up, but I can actually read and learn about their company, their social media, their address, their products and services and skills. I can connect with them exactly how I would do on Instagram, send a message to this person as well. So, and then that person can respond to me again inside of this app. So, we are transitioning those interactions from Facebook messengers to, this your own ecosystem. That's one of the way you do it. I want to show you something, the push notifications. We all know the email open rate, right? When we send emails to our customers, about 17%, there's a global statistics, about 17% of the emails gets opened. Rest just never gets opened or accessed before. You do the push notifications, again, a great, about 75 to 80% push notifications, people actually read it. So very easy and free to actually get to your community and customers quickly via the app. One of the things that we did was, digitize the referrals. So exactly how Clubhouse grew, or, Uber, invite your friend, right? That's how the Uber and Airbnb grew. That's how the Clubhouse grew, invite someone. Every business can have that opportunity. This is how we do it. You go, okay, you can, customers can actually, access this feature. You as a business owner have written the marketing copy of how your business or you should be introduced to the potential prospects, the potential clients. So the customers don't have to do the thinking of how I should introduce Money and You or this organization or this program or this coach or this knowledge expert to my friend. That thinking has been done for me. It's there as a copy of the introduction message. I can choose now, as a graduate of Money and You or as a client of this business, if I want to send an invitation message to my 5 friends of mine via SMS or email, I can choose that. I can see, what is my friend going to receive before I send it, so I can preview this, link to the landing page that my friend is going to receive, and what's the offer that that is specially available for my friends and family. Okay, great. Now I'm comfortable. It's all about the trust and the privacy. Okay, so then I go next, and now everybody is in my phone book is now here. So I can go, okay, I want to introduce Money and You to Anthony and, Ash and Amber, or Alex. I can just tick someone in invitation process, or I can just go select all. I'm not going to do select all right now, but, but then go next. And practically the message has been drafted for me. All I have to do is just click send, and they will receive an introduction message from me. So they're going to open it. They're all my friends. And what are they going to open? They're going to open and introduce this business on this program called Money and You. They're going to open that and access it because it came from me. I'm a trusted source for these people. It's not a cold marketing. It's a word of mouth referral marketing digitized. I'm just going to go cancel this right now. Let's have, thank you for referring this. People can also refer on social media. So I can go, okay, I want to share this on my Facebook, this Money and You program on my Facebook. Now I can straight post it on my Facebook. So that facility is there for people. People can always go and check the referral history that I have sent this 100 referrals for this business. So you can create promotions, and for introductions, for every referral, we will give you this X incentives or X discount. You can start to run those kind of marketing campaigns within the community, within the customer base, and reward them for sharing you, right? And because it's all on a single platform and its ownership of the data is with you, we are actually tracking what happens with this referral. There's a lot more that I can show you here, but you start to get a sense of what we are talking about, through the Master Dojo. So here's the idea. Your products, services, content, your community, digitized referrals, landing pages, community interactions, all of the payment, all of that into one single platform, not 17 platforms. Therefore, you start to master the data domain. You start to use it, your customers start to use it. We are working on a technology to solve the problem. I work with Google and Amazon in an AI space, with my dream being to create a digital twin, where I want to create, masters like Doria, and I want to create a digital avatar. I want to simplify the technology to create a digital twin. So I work with Google and Amazon in their AI engineers to solve this problem called, how do I take all this knowledge, wisdom, all this data that is sitting in this master's head, in their heart, and it's now reflected in the data, in the teachings, in the sharing of the content, and creating an AI model for that. And we are working on that problem. But the part is preparing for the solution. Solution will eventually exist. The technology exists. Now it's about using the technology in a right manner to form it into a solution. When that solution exists, and if all this data is owned by you within your own ecosystem, that's the moment of truth that gives you enormous competitive advantage, where you can now use all that data, mix it with that solution, and now you have your digital twin.
Wow.
Right? Because at some point, I know, Doria, you will retire. Where will we go to learn from you? Right? We want to create a digital you before you retire, so your legacy can go and last beyond you. And you can be sitting pina coladas in Hawaii. At the same time, we all can continue to learn from the wisdom that exists with you. And that's the work that we have been up to, and that's the vision of Master Dojo. While the solution does not exist right now, but what the solution that is there is start mastering your own data ecosystem, mastering your own domain. So that's what I would share. I would just share one last thing. I know some people would be interested in connecting with me, talking to me, a bit more details. So here's my contact details. If you are interested in using Master Dojo, being on Master Dojo, using these technologies, or partner with me in solving this problem, you can book a meeting with me. I think Connie is publishing the meeting details as well. I'm definitely offering, some time. This is a very special community. So if someone wants to book a digital strategy meeting for your business, feel free to do so. You can send me an email, connect with me.
Let's make it very clear that Jay doesn't offer this everywhere.
This
Just
is
wanna
only
make
for
sure.
this exclusive community. Yes.
Yeah, he is a very busy human being, so this is very interesting for some of you. So I have a question for you. So if I want to follow 90 Degrees, or I want to follow you, Jay, do I have to download the app first, or is there a link? How do we get into the 90 Degrees app?
You just download 90 Degrees app from the App Store.
Okay, so you go to the App Store and you look for 90 Degrees.
Correct.
Do you also have one? Do you have one?
No, I have not done one for myself.
But it's Master Dojo?
Master Dojo. So if you can download Master Dojo from the App Store as well as the Google Play Store. So it's there on Android as well as Apple iOS, both those platforms. Master Dojo is there. The opportunity, Doria, is, as we have done for 90 Degrees, and we are going to do this for you, where anyone can have their own app. Any business can have their own brand. They will simultaneously appear on the Master Dojo's marketplace that we are building, right? It coexists. But then, then all the marketing, all the engagement activities you do, whether you are, what you are doing on Clubhouse, you can tell people, download my app. And everything about me is there. So the way you are doing that is you're using Clubhouse to acquire new prospect, engage the world and engage the market, but then transition them into your own app.
And so you would say, okay, go ahead and go to the Doria, just go to the App Store and put down Doria. Just so you guys know, we've been having this conversation. I have a real big challenge of calling an app Doria, okay? But if I call it just Money and You, it is not quite correct because I have been about Money and You for 42 years. But one of the things, I'm involved in so many things, and thanks to all of you, my beautiful Fridays with Doria, you know, community, the Ohana, the family that we have created, I couldn't just call it Fridays with Doria. So it ended up that, and you all going to have this too. I'm also, you know, having the foundation is being set up right now. So what we're looking at is putting everything in there. So all the different things. I'm going to have Letitia Wright stuff in there. I'm going to have Dr. Liddy stuff in there. I'm going to have Paolo stuff in there. You know, all the different things that I recommend, you know, it will be in one app, so to speak. So at first I thought it was going to be a little bit disorganized, you know, after I talked to you, Jay, and we were talking about, okay, what does my digital twin going to look like? So basically this has the capacity to be able to hold all those different places, right? Because it's the same thing, like I want to be, you know, in Global Sparks. You know, that's our beautiful Dr. Serge Gravel. You remember Dr. Serge
Yes,
Gravel,
of
our
course.
beautiful instructor. So he has Global Sparks. So I also want to be able to have a link to that. Is that correct?
Yes.
I know I'm not the only one that has this question. So it will
Yes.
be, it's almost like a one place for people to find out everything that you're supporting and behind, plus your videos, plus we are looking at having the Fridays with Doria replays in there, right?
Correct. That's right. That's right. So it's
Okay.
a video recordings, right? It's a content. So all the content we can upload it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to have some question and answers here. And so if you can just go ahead and everybody take a picture of that, the contact information. If not, you know, it has been also being put on the chat. And so go ahead, and if you can stop sharing so that we can see people's beautiful faces. By the way, just so you know, anybody who is offering anytime any kind of financing or anything in the chat or anything like that, just remember that this is an open forum. You know, this is an open platform, Fridays with Doria. So we invite all kinds of different friends. So just remember that Doria, Accelerated Business Schools, all that we are about, we never ever raise any monies. I don't ever, what is the word, sponsor or recommend anybody, because anything that has to do around money, finances, you know, you really need to go ahead and have, like we teach in the business school, all the clear rules of the game, all the things that they need to go ahead and have in place in order to offer you money or for you to raise money or whatever you're going to do. Even though I have a program called Money and You, I am not the money girl. I'm actually entrepreneurial education girl. Okay. So we offer education. I don't have investors. I don't raise money from investors or anything like that. I just want to make it really, really clear to everyone, especially the new people. I am, for the last 42 years, I'm strictly education. Okay, so everyone clear about that. I was getting some texts here and some, oh, are you now into this? No, I'm not. I am all the different beautiful instructors. They all have their own platforms. They all have their own way of offering. I am just here to show the beautiful work. I mean, the masters of masters that I find, because this can be very confusing. So we're so thankful, Jay, that you started making it clear. So we have had some people waiting here. I think Christopher was waiting, then Yannick was waiting. There were a couple of other hands. So Dr. Vijaya came in last. So Christopher, go ahead and make it nice and quick.
Okay. Thank you, Doria, for lighting the fire under me 5 days ago. It took off like a rocket, and we'll talk about that another time. Jay, when Dr. Liddy brought up the empathy thing, I was trained in science. For 45 years, I've worked with numerology and a whole bunch of offshoots of that. I'm actually based in Thailand, but I'm currently on the Gold Coast, and we're going to have a conversation on Thursday, so I look forward to that. But the thing, when you use digital, I just put in numbers, and everything you said is like a physical manifestation of what people look for and are aiming for with numerology, astrology, human design, you name it. It's like, and we don't have a problem with those sort of things. So why should we have a problem with digital? And there's a really beautiful, in a sense, part of it is because masculine energy has been put down and digital stuff is more masculine, although it very beautifully maps the feminine. So we're coming back to empowering masculine energy. And I really want to say I was deeply impressed by what you did, what you're doing, and also I can offer you solutions to the next steps. So I want to talk to you about that. But the point I wanted to make was that what you're doing digitally is no different than what we do when we see a numerologist or astrologer. It's metaphysics and spirituality translated into the physical world. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very beautiful. Thank you so much. Okay, who did we have next? You had your hand up and you disappeared. Where are you? Okay, Dr. Vijaya, I know you were next. Yannick was next. Yannick, are you there?
Yes. I was.
Okay. Go ahead, Yannick.
I'm good. Thank you. Hey, so I heard something that Doria said that I want to shoot out there because I also am trying to remap and orient my technological thing. I just checked and there's 28,000 some unread emails that my phone is telling me I have. But as far as I've been looking at digital, what would be the best service for an email provider that's out on the cloud, so I don't have to like bring it down onto my own server and potentially lose it, or my own. What would you recommend for that? Do you have a
for what purpose?
For personal and or business email? You know, that probably I'm going to separate out my emails in a.
I think the emails, you can always have your own domain host. Okay, that way you are controlling the data.
Right, but where is that data resting? I like it.
It's sitting on the cloud. It is sitting on the cloud. There are providers.
Server.
It is sitting on the
server. Who's potentially selling the data, or you selling it to the NSA to map, right?
But that's where you have to examine the policies, the terms and conditions and privacy policies of how they use the data, because all the companies are forced to legally, they're bound to disclose that. Now, no one, checks those things, right? You just go, yep, I accept without reading it. There could be 20 pages.
So which ones have you accepted?
Which rules have I accepted? I host my own.
Okay.
Because I want to be in the master of my own data ecosystem, and that's what I believe in. So I create my own tech.
So when Australia has another wildfire, potentially your house burns, everything else and your platform.
I will still have access to my data and the networks. Yes, it's on the cloud. It's on the cloud, right? But I have a control over it. It's about
somebody else has the server.
That's correct. That is correct, but it's a server that we commission. See, you want to use the cloud technologies, right? So for example, Amazon Web Services, right, is a good example, or Microsoft or Google. The infrastructure is provided. However, you want to have sufficient skill and ownership so that you can actually, have your own server within those infrastructures without the cost that comes with building those multi-million-dollar infrastructure. So we use Amazon as an example, but we have our own servers on Amazon Cloud.
And you said you had skills.
That's right.
So how would you recommend somebody get
So
I was just trying
Yannick,
to
I would recommend that you get together with Jay
Right, okay, that's fine.
and go
Yeah,
really in a
absolutely.
deep dive because we're
Yep,
going to
yep,
lose
yep.
some of the people. And just
So-
very quickly, Yannick, one of the first things that happened, I have a web orchestrator. His name is Dwayne Jaworski. Dwayne Jaworski came into my life 13 years ago, and he is my web orchestrator. What that means is that everything web I do with his blessing, because it was 13 years ago was even more complicated. And one of the first things that we did was put everything, all of my my web presence, all of my websites and everything, and certain things are all under a particular server that he has his clients in. I am not at the effect of anything, and because he is the one that knows where to go. Okay, so I'm not with all these public ones. I definitely do not have. I have to have Gmail account for certain things that only accept Gmail accounts. I mean, Google Docs and things like that. I can't use my regular one, so I don't mind. So immediately I created a Gmail account. But I began to learn very quickly 13 years ago about the importance of having control over your own data. And then I'm very clear, that Clubhouse, there's all this fuss about that the Chinese own that platform and all this and that. Give me a break. It's like this whole anti-Chinese thing drives me crazy. It's like these big companies, they have access. I mean, we gave up a lot of our information a long time ago, but the more that I can create and be in platforms that in servers and platforms that I trust, the better, especially when it's my own. But not if I'm not going to not go into Clubhouse because my data becomes available. That's already, that ship has sailed, certain data, but others that I can have control over, I have. And I think, Jay, is that correct? That's the core principle, right?
You want to do that, right? Clubhouse is where lots of people are there. Facebook, Instagram, that's where the market is. That's where customers are. So you go to engage your market, you record those conversations on Clubhouse, but then most people stop there. You take a step further and transition them into your own ecosystem. That's an important element, because then the conversations, interactions after in that second step is where you start to own that data. It's not on Clubhouse, it's on your ecosystem. And that's where you can really prepare for the revolution of digital twin that I see is coming.
That's good. That leads into another question. So Master Dojo owns your content if you're under Master Dojo, but then does Doria now have is the content within her veil of ownership?
So that's exactly what, and I said earlier about the use of the technology and ownership. We actually don't own your data and content, you do.
And then how do you get to 4 billion people that way? Do you
That's a different conversation. I think from a Master Dojo perspective, happy to have a separate meeting with you. Yeah. But that's, it's very principle driven, very philosophy driven. You 100% own the content and the data that you put on it.
And the recommendation is to be in as many of those platforms as possible.
That's
Don't
right.
go unconscious.
Yes.
What we're trying to bring to you is awareness. This is why I wanted to have this conversation, is that people just go completely unconscious. They sign up for all kinds of stuff and buy any app and do all these things. And I'm going, let me take a look at this, So thank you so much. So I don't want to keep you too long, Jay. Thank you. So Dr. Vijaya, and then we'll start to complete. Dr. Vijaya, go ahead. Hi.
Hi, everybody. I'm here at Dubai Airport, but I am so glad to connect to this Zoom meeting. Especially, this is in the area which I am looking for, expert advice. Jay, we started two apps in the Play Store. One is SMTU. I started a digital university called St. Mother Teresa University.
Yeah.
So So the first thing I did is I wanted to put up the committee. I wanted to put up, what are the rules, what are the guidelines and all that. But we are yet to start the online course. There are content available. There is context as well. But I'm not very clear how to monetize my purpose. I'm still stuck.
Yes.
So we have come up with the app. App is, on trial run. We are as of now running it with Android. But the thing is, I wanted to be a part of Master Dojo. So we just initially had a conversation with Vineet and we wanted to put up how things are. Craig was very kind enough to, let us in complimentary. But where I got stuck is we need content, around 2000 hours of content. So when it comes to content, I want to be very clear that I want to offer valuable content. It should not
Yes.
be just that what is available. So
Yes.
the content should be so powerful that, they should come back to us and they should resonate with what we are doing.
Yes.
So I'm actually taking a back seat and doing this. I don't know, like I feel as though I've lost my motion of fastness or something. So I'm just lost. Can you help me with this, please?
I'll say one thing, okay? It's, have you ever heard of the saying called progress before perfection?
Progress before perfection. Wow. Okay.
One thing that I see a lot of people get stuck with all the time is, I want to have a perfect content. And I want to have a perfect solution, and it needs to look like this, it needs to sound like this, it needs to be like this. There's nothing wrong with that approach. The constraint that enforces, that comes with that approach is where you actually never get out seeking perfection, because perfection is an illusion. We are in an era of innovation. We are in an era of expressing yourself and expressing your wisdom. If you stop being concerned about a perfect content and just express yourself, and stay true to your values, your principles, your wisdom, and who you are, it will be fine. People will engage. It does not need a perfection, for sure. And that's what I would offer to you. To move away from perfection and more, into sharing yourself, expressing yourself, and whatever your content will express you. So if you trust yourself, trust your content, and get out there, it will start to contribute to the people in a way that, currently it's not, world is not being contributed to. So I would say stop waiting for perfection and start expressing and getting out there.
So to paraphrase, Jay, you say that it's okay to be work in progress and just publish and go on updating it. Am I right?
Yes. In fact, it is more authentic. It is more real, and people engage with authenticity. See, when it is too much professionally edited and it looks like a movie, it's not authentic. The authenticity is taken out, right? And people engage with authentic content. So you record a video on your phone and you publish it out there, it's engaging, it's real, it shows you as you without any, facade on it.
Sure, that's how I started doing 1 minute video, 1 minute inspiration video live on Facebook, just giving it the content free 1 minute on interpersonal skills, leadership skills, and all that. But now I feel very intimidated whether my video looks very raw. People put up such a nice video with all the labels and all stuff, and I'm just over there and speaking. I was a little, not sure whether I'm on the right track. So I'll have to see the whole replay of your program, because I was rushing to the airport. I couldn't be in connection all the time. But I'm very glad I asked this question, which was bugging me all the time. Thank you so much, Jay. It's been a great help.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Most welcome. Thank you.
Our Dr. Vijaya is, now she's in Dubai, but she flies around the universe. But she's the one that was taking care of 40 families, Jay, when the comet happened, and in India, they don't have, the kind of support at times in certain places.
Tell me about it.
I grew up, and we're really happy. She was connecting with all these people that she worked with around Asia Pacific. So with that, we have gone 20 minutes really, and I'm going to migrate over to the toptalentjv.com Asia. So if you want to continue partying, let's go over there because they started a couple of hours ago and it's a great place for you to speak about your stuff, learn, and they have, you know, masterminds and things. Would love to have you with us. So thank you, Jay. Any parting words before we let you go? We all unmute and say aloha. Anything else, Jay?
I think the parting words is just thank you everyone for your participation, for your listening. You know, we are in an era where, you know, it's important to take responsibility for our own digital footprint and digital ecosystem, and that's the opportunity. So look forward to speaking with many of you, and we'll see you around soon. Thank you.
Okay, unmute everyone and say goodbye and thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you very
Bye-bye,
much.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Bye.
Jay.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thanks,
everybody.
Jay. Bye, everybody. Yay.
Bye,
Aloha.
everyone.
See you
Thank
later.
Have a
you.
beautiful
Bye,
day.
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jay.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
Thank
Aloha.
you.
Bye.
Bye bye.